Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the GamesFan podcast. We've got Gamescom behind us, and this weekend we're coming into PAX Prime, which is a pretty big show. We're eagerly looking forward to that. How about you guys?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
I wish I was there.
I imagine both Microsoft and Sony will have a pretty big presence there. I know Nintendo is, so we're going to have to keep our eye on this weekend and see how things progress, because we might get an announcement. You never know.
Like a release date?
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft could decide to spring a release date.
I hope so. There's a rumor about it.
Maybe we'll get a release date on November 1st. Announced on November 1st. Maybe.
So let's introduce ourselves, shall we?
We shall.
Shall we?
We shall. So, I'm Mark Hearn.
I am Nick. I'm not Chris. That's for sure.
We have Nick back this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Nick is joining us. And of course you have myself, Ashley King. So we're all here, the three that you're used to. And we're going to get this show on the road. So
Pew, pew.
Mark, I've seen rumors that there's going to be a white Xbox One. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. So, the internet, this strange, incredible thing called the internet, started having pictures of a white Xbox One show up. We've seen this before, but one time it was said that was a developer's unit. This time around, it was confirmed that this is made by of course it's made by Microsoft, but it's going to be exclusive to Microsoft employees. It's a white Xbox One with a white controller and a black Kinect. Go figure on that. And it's a special employee edition. It actually has an inscription that says, I made this or something like that, like next to the disk drive. So it actually looks pretty good, but it's for employees only, at least for now. It's probably going to make its way to consumers maybe one day, one glorious day. We'll all have that white Xbox.
I've seen a lot of people griping on the internet about it, the console and the controller being white, but the actual Kinect being black. I think it's understandable that the Kinect is black, though, because it's going to be right under your TV or on top of your TV if you've got some weird setup. So if you have a black TV, why would you put a white device like directly in front of it or on top of it?
I mean, are white TVs popular?
Do you have a white TV?
There are some with colored bezels.
Nah,
I mean, I've seen silver TVs. I've never seen a white TV.
Yeah,
I think there's somebody out there that does that.
when you put it that way, though, it does make sense for it to still be black, because the idea is, like you said, for it to either rest right below your TV or on top of your TV. So realistically, like you said, a snowball white Kinect or a bone white Kinect sitting on top of a black LED display or something like that, or a black TV, it's gonna stand out. So, yeah. So, but yeah, it's going to be for employees only at this time.
Now, can you? I got a question, Mark. Can you use Microsoft points to buy the white Xbox One when it comes out?
Hardy har. Moving into the next.
Is that a good segue?
Yeah, moving into the next piece of news here. Microsoft points we had a funeral for those yesterday, sort of. There was a new dashboard update to Xbox 360 users. It was in beta for about a month and a half, maybe longer. And finally, Microsoft points are no more. They were converted to local currency. So if you had 333 Microsoft points, I don't know where I got that number from, but if you did, it will now be converted to cash based off of your local exchange. So
good riddance.
Yeah, if you're talking euros, maybe it's different than the American dollar, which isn't doing so hot these days. But
I think that's definitely a good move for Microsoft, considering their main competitors, Sony and Nintendo, don't use points. I mean, Nintendo has points, but it's basically if you buy a prepaid card, and it's just, you buy a $50 card, and
still valued at money.
It puts
yeah,
50. Right. It wasn't 80 points equals $1, which is stupid. That's the stupidest thing that I could ever imagine.
Yeah, and just one quick note on this: if those points being converted to cash are operating on borrowed time, they will expire on June 1st, 2015. That's a long ways away, but don't say we didn't warn you. Moving along.
That's crazy.
What? I mean, why would they even expire though? What's the point in having them expire? I mean, you purchased them obviously.
Hey, ask Microsoft. I don't know.
Don't ask Microsoft; they will probably kill you.
But yeah. So just to let you know, I mean, there'll be all kinds of stuff going on by then, but you should use them by then. Okay, so moving along. There's also if you haven't seen an Xbox One in person, they said picture's worth 1,000 words. Yeah, but a picture can also be deceiving. If you haven't seen one in person and you happen to have a Microsoft store remotely close to where you live or where you frequent, they're now showing the console at their local retail stores. There's a catch, though. It's behind thick, bulletproof, check cashing place glass, and it's not to use. They're just showing it on display like it's a piece of art or something. I don't know. I think it's kind of stupid.
I don't understand why they're not showing these off. I mean, obviously they were showing them at E3, but everyone there was also behind bulletproof glass.
Yeah, I think it's stupid to show it but not let people use it. I mean,
I expect the actual console to be behind glass to prevent theft, but you could have the console on and let people play Killer Instinct or something.
Right, but I mean, I don't know. Somebody who makes a lot of money probably came up with that decision, and apparently, they got people to sign off on it. So if you want to see what an Xbox One Connect and controller look like sitting in bulletproof thick glass, you can do that. Just go to a Microsoft store. They're there for you to see. Another Microsoft news. Let's see. There was another video released for the controller. This is with the lead product designer. He did a walkthrough of the controller, talk about all these wonderful enhancements that were made. They showed how the thumbsticks are smaller, the button spacing is a little tighter, the D-pad's improved, the rumbling triggers. There's a digital switch that's like /digital. It's like digital/manual. They showed all these things on a new walkthrough, really in depth. It's a really good walkthrough. Shows some of the finer points. One thing it pointed out that a lot of people might not be aware of: the controller is both a wired and wireless controller. Meaning, if you take a USB cable, connect it to the controller, plug into the Xbox, it's going to work as a hardline controller. Initially,
is it a standard USB now?
It's the I always get these two mixed
micro?
up. Micro, because the mini is the one that's even smaller, right? Yes.
Yes, minis are for our cell phones and stuff.
Yeah, this one.
Or micro is for our cell phones.
No,
Mini USB would be for the controller.
Yeah, this one is this like this. Whatever you're using on most Android phones now, it's that one, which is a micro.
Well, that's micro. That's the tiny one.
Yeah, but no, there's two. There's a standard USB, there's a micro, and then there's a mini. And initially, initially, I think the mini is smaller, just a little bit thinner. But put it like this: the one you use on a PS3, on a DualShock 3, that's the one.
Yeah, that's different from a cell phone.
That's a mini USB.
Yeah.
I know because the headset that I have is a mini USB.
Okay.
It charges.
Okay.
I could charge it with my PS3 controller. So.
Okay. Well, damn it. I think it is a micro. I could have swore the dude said micro. Put like this.
Micro is the teeny tiny flat one that's on your cell phone.
Put like this.
That's the micro.
Put like this. You use a small USB cable. And
I know what you're saying. It's the same as PS3 now, is what you're saying. Same as DualShock 3.
Well, the DualShock 3 doesn't work as a wired controller, though. It just charges.
Yeah. Well, it does work as a wired controller, actually.
My understanding.
What it does is it actually connects wired, but while still being connected Bluetooth. And originally, a long time ago, here's a little backtracking history. There was some issues with the Bluetooth connectivity with PS3, right? And it got fixed since with firmware patches. But I'll make this quick. If you plugged in the controller, it wouldn't disconnect you from, like, you could quickly reattach it, and you could do things you couldn't do when it was just wireless. It was a lot faster working wired. So, I mean, it's not truly a wired controller. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, well, the way they described it is like this. You plug the thing up, battery's not needed, and it's still going to work as a wired controller.
That's a true wireless or wired controller.
It's one of those things. So it's not just to charge it. Like with the 360 controller, if you plug it in, it's just to play and charge. That's all it is. With this one,
that's cool.
It's a hard wired controller because they said like
so that means if you take the battery pack out, if it's removable and you wanted to use it as a wired controller, it would be like ridiculously lightweight.
Yeah, which it is removable, by the way. But so that's not a bad idea. I mean, I think that was pretty neat. Somebody brought something up in a comment that I read with the story that I posted about this, saying, shouldn't this controller have a name by now? And it made me think, yeah, it should. There's the DualShock 3, DualShock 4 for Sony. Nintendo has the gamepad. I guess the Xbox One is just the controller. So if you guys have an idea for a name,
Mr. Hearn.
Haha.
I just call it my 360 controller. I guess this will just be the one
The
controller.
one.
It's like it'll be kind of like the one ring to rule them all. It'll be the one
I have
controller.
I think that's what they want.
I have those 2 one controllers over there. I have those 4 one controllers over there.
Yeah, which controller do I play on this system? The one.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, so.
This one? No, that one.
But yeah, so maybe it should get a name. But
yeah, it needs a name.
Yeah, if you guys have a name idea, go ahead and feel free to leave that in comments and come up with wacky names. But the Neo, the one. But yeah, one last tidbit, and this is what we teased at earlier. There was a alleged purported leaked document suggesting that the Xbox One will release on November 8th, which would place it 1 week before Sony's confirmed launch date for the PlayStation 4. The alleged document came from some type of marketing firm that does product placement for Walmart, and it looked, I guess it looked about as legit as a alleged internal document can look, but it's it's always sketchy with this sort of thing. So
the 8th is 1 week ahead of the 15th, which is Sony's launch
yeah,
date.
and it's a Friday.
And they're both on Fridays. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting. I could definitely see it being a launch day, being Friday. People get their new console. They want to go home, play it with the weekend.
Yep.
It makes sense. So it wasn't like too far-fetched. And I mean, realistically, if I can recall, this kind of happened with the last console cycle. The PS3 came out, and then the original Wii came out like a week later or something like that, if I can recall. So it makes sense to see a 1 week spacing. You know what I mean? So it remains to be seen. Microsoft, of course, isn't saying anything about it. So we'll find out sooner than later. Maybe like we were saying at PAX.
Yeah.
That's that in the land of Microsoft.
Will they get another opportunity to publicly announce that at a public forum like that?
Not unless they host their own conference.
And that's another rumor going around that they may host their own private conference to say, hey, this is the event. It seems like a lot of places are doing that too, especially in the smartphone world. Like Samsung and Apple do it. HTC has done it. Everyone tends to have their own.
LG did it.
So it's not uncommon, but I mean, look at it like this: we're literally leaning into September. The system's promised to come out in November. That's really close. They're cutting it really close with this.
Yeah,
but enough about Microsoft.
I think the 8th is probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, makes sense.
It gives them a 1 week lead. I don't see why they would consider coming out on the 15th with the PS4 a smart move when they're given, one more option if they're only looking at Fridays, because they did say November, so they're planning on November, but you can't release it past the 15th because then that's cutting it too close to Black Friday.
That's true.
So really, the 8th is the only option. You can put all your chips on the 8th.
So you heard it first, the 8th. Only option.
And now I want to go back and listen to the E3 episodes that we did and try and see who said what.
Oh, I said October.
I think there were some bets made on that.
I said October.
I don't remember what I said.
I said November, but I thought it was going to be. I think I said either the 22nd or the 15th. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I think Rob had it in his mind it was going to happen like on the 29th or something like that.
That's ridiculous.
That's too late.
Way too late.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but Black Friday's on November 29th. So I mean, again, if they release after PS4 on the 15th, then they're conceding to that that one thing, like the release date. They're conceding the loss for that. But if they want to release sooner, the 8th is the only option.
The 8th is the most logical date. When you hear it, it makes sense. It's a week before your immediate competition, and it gives you a slight jump. And it stays in the guidelines of your commitment to November. It's before the holidays, and it gives enough time for people to do their Christmas shopping and make that last dash. So it makes sense.
Well, and don't forget also pre-orders. They'll be able to fulfill pre-orders on that day and then have more time than Sony to get their numbers back up to get consoles on store shelves before Black Friday.
Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense, but who knows at this point? Like, really, who knows?
Well, I'm not sure if you guys talked about this last week. Did you guys talk about this the game upgrade system that Microsoft and Sony have come up with?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we briefly touched on it.
So
I don't think any of the details were out for Sony. It was just them saying at a significant discount.
yeah, pretty much. But James wanted to point this one out that again, Sony is offering full digital downloads of PS4 games for $10 if you buy the retail disc version on PS3.
Did they?
And
so they gave a price. They gave an actual price on that. That's not a rumor.
Yeah, well, okay, so they gave a price for the one that has been confirmed in the program, and that's from Activision Call of Duty Ghosts. That one is confirmed, and after that, after Gamescom, Sony rep said that yes, there will be more publishers and games coming to the program, but Sony is not mandating that $9.99 price. If a publisher wants to release it for more or less, it's up to them. So as far as Call of Duty Ghosts is concerned, if you buy it on PS3 and you want to upgrade or you want to purchase it also on PS4, you have to have the actual PS3 disc, is what they said at Gamescom, and then you'll be able to buy the digital version on PS4 and just download Call of Duty Ghosts on your PS4 and keep the PS3 disc. They don't actually make you trade it in, which is the difference between this whole PSN program and the at retail Xbox One upgrade. Because those ones, Amazon and GameStop, they actually want you to trade the Xbox 360 version in, and they'll give you like $25 credit plus another $25 upgrade credit, and then you get the Xbox One version. I think the actual retail disc version of it for $10. So there's a difference between the two, but at least with the Xbox version, they've already confirmed, 8 titles, and we have one confirmed for PS4.
Yeah, I'm really wondering how that's going to work, though. Like, how do they verify that you actually have the game? Is it going to come with, maybe it's going to come with some kind of code to redeem it or something like that?
Yeah, it could be that. I didn't think about that, but we all know the PS3 has a Blu-ray drive, and it'll be playing the same media as PS4, but the biggest difference is the architecture of the consoles. The PS4 runs on the x86 like the Xbox One and a PC. The PS4 runs on cell, so discs will not work. PS3 disc will not work in the PS4. So, I mean, you could put the disc in the console. It will spin it. Whether or not it can read a line of code off of there or whatever, I have no idea, but it's not going to play the game. But they didn't really go into detail. They just said you have to have the disc. And the only thing that tells me is that you got to put it in the system.
Wait.
Point it at the camera?
Wait. You mean a major game company in gaming was vague about something? Get out of town.
Incomplete. Yes, absolutely.
Get out of town.
Anyway,
you're
so
fired.
We've got more questions for them as far as this is concerned.
I think if they include a code, if they include a little scratcher code or whatever that you can redeem, and it gives, it brings it down at a discounted price, that just seems like a cheap, easy solution, and that's something.
Yeah, that's basically just a coupon.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, you bought this, you get this game at a discounted price. Here's a coupon. You gotta redeem this code before 2 years or whatever they're gonna put on it, and that'll be that. But I mean, to do something elaborate like you gotta pop the disc in and download a patch and some crazy stuff, who knows? It's kind of like,
well, they've done that though.
Oh no,
they've been that elaborate before.
Oh no, I know. Like I bought BioShock Infinite on the PS3, and it came with a free copy of the original BioShock, but that free copy cost me 12 gigabytes of hard drive space.
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't. I'd rather they had just put another disc in there, honestly. But 12 gigabytes of hard drive space, that's a lot. You know how many PlayStation Plus games that could probably equate to? You know what I mean? So
you didn't have to keep it on your hard drive. You could delete it.
Yeah, but then I have to go through the headache of installing it again if I want to play.
So yeah, you install it, you play it, and then you delete it. But anyways, they have done this before with the first generation of cross-buy games, like Sly Cooper and Ratchet and Clank, which came out later, and PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Those Vita versions were activated from the disc. But again, that was the PS3 disc playing in the PS3 and actually working. And then in the menu, there was an option that you would select that was below the actual PS3 game. And when you selected that, it would like almost activate the web browser, and then it would take you to the PlayStation Store where it would redeem the code that I guess was linked to that physical disc. So they have done this before, and may be something that they'll do with PS4 if they can put that kind of thing on the PS3 disc where it doesn't actually launch the game, but it launches the code which opens the store and redeems the voucher that's embedded in the disc, maybe.
But just
so moving on.
But just to bottom line it though.
Yeah.
Basically, there's only one game confirmed for their trade up program. It's Call of Duty Ghosts. If you buy Ghosts on your PS3 and you want to upgrade to the PS4, you can score a digital copy for $10. Other games are coming. Who knows how much they'll cost? It may be up to the publishers. Just to sum it up.
Yeah, and it'll probably be on par with the retail offerings for Xbox One. It just seems too obvious that would be the case. Yeah. I'll be surprised if it's any different.
Okay, so there you go.
Moving on, you know me, I love pinball, right? And you guys hate it apparently, but Pinball Arcade.
I don't hate pinball. I just don't have a big boner for it.
I want images. So I wanted to point out that the PlayStation Store updated today, as Ashley and I were talking about some of the games that came out, Spelunky being one of them. But Pinball Arcade is preparing for its PS4 launch, and today on the PlayStation Store you can actually download a trailer that they're putting out there. It's almost like just a hypey trailer to get you amped up, and so you can see some of the differences, some of the bells and whistles they've included in the PS4 versions of their tables. You can download that trailer right now and check it out. It looks pretty dope. But I wanted to point out real quick that Farsight has confirmed that this isn't going to be a cross-buy game. And I don't know if this worries you guys, but the PS3 Vita version of the game is currently cross-buy. So, like, if you buy it on either one, you get the other version for free. And
that seems a little bit strange to me that they're not doing cross-buy with the PS4 version, simply because Sony is so adamant about when you buy PS4 games, you'll be able to play them on your Vita.
On your what?
But that's different.
On your what?
But that's different.
I know it's different, but what I'm saying is...
On your what, Ashley?
On your Vita.
You said Vita.
She said it kind of. She said it kind of funny.
I know I did. Thanks for pointing that out, Mark, and making me feel self-conscious.
It was all like, I will cut you with my machete, you know.
Anyway, I know it's not the same as playing a full retail release from the PS4 on the Vita, but it's almost similar to me. Because they're doing cross-buy for PS3. Why wouldn't they do cross-buy for PS4?
Well, I was told by Farsight that it's just all about the fact that they're putting extra effort into the PS4 versions, that they're using new technology, software technology in the PS4 versions, and they're going out of their way to make an amazing PS4 version of the game. It's not like they're simply porting the code, as is the case with PS3 and Vita, where they can simply downscale it for Vita screen. They can, take out some of the features that just don't run right on Vita, for example, and then sell it. That in that case, they can do cross-buy. But since they're actually improving it and making it better, and we've seen this before with other games where they'll release it on one platform, then they'll improve it and they'll call it an HD version, they charge again. They don't give it to you for free just because it came out previously. And so, because of that, that's why they're charging again for it. And all the DLC is also being charged again, because it only works on the PS4 version, obviously. But the Farsight people did say they were looking into ways to subsidize the costs, to maybe, do this like Call of Duty deal, where if you have purchased the other versions, maybe you'll get a discount. Maybe it'll be 50% off. So, that's what I'm kind of hoping for, because I put a lot of money into those pinball tables. I bought every single one of them. And they have packs now, Season 1, Season 2 packs. I think they're like $40 each, so that's $80 right there, plus the game, which is $10. The minimum $90 if you wanted to get it all again on PS4.
Yeah, it's going to be an awkward.
Yeah, that seems a little bit excessive to me, to not have any sort of discount for people that have been loyal fans or whatever.
It's going to be an awkward next few months.
Hopefully those our friends at Farsight, if you guys are listening, please discount the games for us, because I do want to play my pinball on PS4, and it does look pretty, by the way. It looks amazing. And if you watch this video, you'll notice, and hopefully you'll notice, that to light the tables, there's no background lighting in in the virtual room where the pinball table is being played, right? The only lighting in the entire game is actually from the actual light bulbs on the table. It's pretty awesome looking. So I think that's basically what they've been working on, is all the lighting and physics and stuff. So what do you got as far as Nintendo?
Nintendo news has been a little bit skimpy this week. I mean, I'm sure they're hard at work on their upcoming games, but one thing that did come out of Japan is they've released a Wii U gamepad battery pack there that is much, much bigger than what we have in standard battery packs here. The first gamepad battery pack was 1500 milliamps. It's kind of skimpy. I mean, it only lasts like 2 or 3 hours. I can play Monster Hunter, or I was playing Splinter Cell over the weekend, and I think I got 2.5 hours before the red light came on and I needed to recharge it. But this new battery pack that's coming is 2550 milliamps, which is like a 70% improvement, and it's supposed to last between 5 to 8 hours. So if you have a gamepad and you just don't get much battery life out of it, you can import those from a site like PlayAsia. The battery pack doesn't have any region locking on it or anything, but I think if those are successful in Japan, they'll probably make their way over here, and that's definitely good to see because I've seen a lot of complaints about the length of the battery.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that's much needed.
I was playing Blacklist this weekend, and from a fresh charge, I was just sitting there on the couch playing, and I think it was 2.5 hours, maybe 3. The brightness wasn't on full. I had the speakers on full because I had earbuds in because the speakers on that thing are crap. But from 2.5 hours, just even if you manage to hit 5 with the new battery, I think it's worth it. I don't know what the cost will be, but some of the commenters on WiiUDaily Daily were saying that you can import them from PlayAsia if you wanted it right now instead of waiting.
Yeah.
So that's an option for anyone.
I would really cross my fingers for some sort of a trade-up program that Nintendo would do.
Yeah, you would almost think if they're making battery packs that are that much larger, when they start making second-run production Wii U's, they would put the new battery pack in there.
Yeah.
Instead of that old crappy battery
Well, they did
pack.
that with Motion Plus
least.
on the original Wii. You remember when Motion Plus
Yeah.
came out? And then
Yeah.
you had to get this crazy dongle and add it onto your controller and get an extra.
I got 2 of them.
Yeah, I got one myself. And then you have to now, what was it, like a few months after that, they were like, okay, all Wiimotes now have it.
Yeah, they just incorporated the technology into the actual Wiimote. I had a white Wiimote that didn't have Motion Plus, and then I had one that did, and using them with Animal Crossing City Folk was like night and day. I mean, holding the white one made it look like I had Parkinson's. Like it was just sitting there shaking. But
that's funny. That's not funny.
In other Nintendo news, Nintendo has announced that they want to sell 5 million 3DS units next year. 5 million. That's quite a bit for a handheld.
Yeah, that's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket for Nintendo.
You think so?
I don't know. I think so. I think they love playing this numbers game and talking about numbers an awful lot. But it's all hardware. I want to see software sales numbers and that kind of stuff.
Well, that's the thing. The reason that they're predicting such a huge number, not just for Japan, but, across the world. I think that software sales have been killing it for them. I mean, the 3DS launched, it didn't have that great of a lineup. People were calling it dead in the water. Oh, this console sucks. Stick with your DS Lite. And now people are like, oh, the 3DS, it's great. You should upgrade. Get a 3DS. So I think people will be doing that over the next few years.
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, everybody
I think
who
they're
has
going to kill that number.
Everybody who has a DS Lite or a DSi or whatever, they're looking at the 3DS and deciding if they want to upgrade or not. So that's your base number right there. Is every single DS owner is eventually going to upgrade, I think. I still have my DSi XL.
How many of those are sold? Like 60 million,
yeah, that's
maybe?
Exactly.
Quite a few.
Even if you get half of that, like this is only 5 million. This is a drop in the bucket. That's what I'm trying to say. But I am more curious about software sales, and I'm not seeing any of those numbers come from Nintendo.
The last software number that I heard was for Fire Emblem Awakening, which was released in February of this year.
Uh-huh.
It recently passed the 1 million mark, which was huge.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I think they said that it needed to sell 500,000 for them to consider it a success.
Yeah.
So reaching double that amount is definitely a huge, huge thing for them.
Have they ever talked about what their overhead costs are for manufacturing the cartridges?
They really, that's something that they keep really secret. They're really pushing digital, but I think that's because a lot of people over the years have complained about having a handheld system that they have to carry cartridges around with them. I know that I'm one of those people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I buy all my 3DS games digitally if I can help it because I want to have them all in my pocket. I don't want to have to switch out cartridges.
Oh, yeah. Same here on Vita.
So, as far as releasing numbers for their overhead on development or cartridge production and distribution, no. And I don't think we'll see that anytime soon.
On lock and key.
Well, Sony doesn't tell you how much it costs them to ship Blu-rays all over the world.
No, that's true. They haven't publicly said it.
It gets back to what I was saying earlier. I guess like, major corporations hiding numbers or not being upfront with numbers.
Yeah.
It's the Twilight
Well, originally the Blu-ray discs were like $5 when the PS3 first came out. I think they were like $5 each. Is what they're saying when DVDs for PS2 were like 10 cents, I think, or something like that. So I'm sure the costs have come down ever since Blu-ray, won the HD war and what would 7 years later.
Yeah,
so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they say the numbers don't lie, but the numbers don't tell because no one tells their numbers.
Well, they're going to tell you they made a profit, and that's all they're going to say. They're not going to tell you how much profit.
Well, look at it like this. Ask Microsoft how many 360s failed. Good luck with that. No, seriously.
Well, have you guys... You look Nintendo up in the dictionary, and the definition of Nintendo is profit. They're never going to lose money, I don't think. Yeah. Even if the Wii U fails, which it's not going to fail. They've only got upward movement in front of them. More sales and improvements. Hopefully they can make those improvements sooner rather than later because now we're jumping into the true next gen here.
Yeah, maybe. So
that's.
I'm sorry. All I was going to say is maybe the Wii U, at least the Wii U is not the next Virtual Boy, though. That thing died in a year.
That was a true failure.
And no, but
this book there, the Virtual
Boy. But they actually called it a failure.
It's almost as bad as the Power Glove, but I would rank the Power Glove higher.
Yeah,
I remember wanting a Power Glove, and I had a friend who had one, and I was like, "Oh man, you're so cool."
Yeah, I had a friend who had one too. I hated his guts. I was so kitty jealous.
People were so envious of the Power Glove, but if you actually put it on and saw people playing with it, it looked ridiculous.
No, do you remember the commercials? Because that was a long time ago. Today it looks ridiculous, but back then
it looks so dope.
You were cool.
Yeah. So this is what I need you to do, Nick. I need you to. I know you guys. There's this movie with Fred Savage. Came out like 1989 or 1990.
Yeah.
I think 89. It was called The Wizard. He has a brother who we believe now was autistic. We had no idea what it was back then. And he's like this amazing video game savant. And they're traveling around the country to get to this game tournament. If you guys haven't seen The Wizard, shame on you. But yeah, basically they encounter this kid named Lucas. He's like who later becomes his grand rival. And they're about to have this showdown and play games at the guy's house. And he breaks out this crazy suitcase, and lo and behold, it's a Power Glove in there. And he puts on like some Ridge Racer-esque kind of racing game, and he starts keying in and programming it. And he sticks his arm out, and he starts driving and gripping and left and right. It looks so amazing. But then it has this amazing line in cinematic history. He looks at him and goes, "I love the Power Glove. So bad."
It was like a commercial in a movie.
And if here's the deal, if I did not do that line justice, but if you go to YouTube and type in "I love the Power Glove," it's gonna pop right up instantly and have like 10 billion views. So you should see it. Maybe Nick can put the soundbite in of it. I love the Power Glove. It's so bad. There's like 50,000 remixes of that too. It's like he gets the demonic voice. "I love the Power Glove. It's so bad," So
did they ever have the track and field mat in a movie?
Not that I can recall, but
they should have. It would have been great in Big with Tom Hanks.
But dude, Forrest Gump, yeah. but dude, that
no, when they were in FAO Schwartz and he was jumping on that keyboard.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
which they still sell that keyboard, by the way.
And you know what? Now that you mention it, that was about that time. Yeah, it was about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But Now that I think about it, that damn movie, The Wizard, it was just like a blatant Nintendo advertisement. That entire movie, like they debuted Mario Brothers 3 at the end when no one had ever seen it, and then they're like, and then here's Fred Savage shouting tips to his brother for a game he's never played before. Like,
Yeah.
like Jimmy, you need to find the magic flute so you can warp. And it's like the game's never
Yeah.
been out yet, but how do you know that? You know what I mean? So, anywho,
The PR guys on the sidelines feeding them lines.
yeah. So precious memories, but yeah, Power Glove, so bad.
In site-related news, we're actually going to have another contest for you. This time it's for Splinter Cell Blacklist.
You don't say.
It is. I'm going to review the game for the site, but when I get done with my review copy, I'm, of course, going to give you guys a chance to win it. We'll be holding the contest on a Google Plus page, just like we did for Pikmin 3, so if you were excited about Pikmin 3, it's going to be a similar deal. But I'm also going to do a little bit more coverage with Blacklist simply because Splinter Cell is so dear to my heart. I love those games. This weekend I'm going to do some streaming with it. I'm going to do some campaigns and possibly some Spies vs. Mercs, so if you're interested in seeing that version, we'll have Twitch streams up this weekend and you can come and check it out.
Oh, I was just taking a look here. I noticed you got a post up that has the comparison on the graphics.
Yeah, if you look at those, it's pretty interesting. Just looking at that PS3 versus Wii U, Sam Fisher's head seems to have a little bit more detail in the Wii U version. Like I can see more of his gray hairs.
Interesting.
You mean Tom Hardy's gray hair or whatever he's supposed to be now?
Eric Johnson is his voice and mocap actor.
Yeah, I think he's talking about the movie.
Yeah.
It does look. It looks darker, and it definitely looks clearer. Like there's not a haze on top of the image. You know, like filters, I guess they might use or whatever. But is this from that? What's the website? This came from.
Lens of Truth.
Yeah, that Lens of Truth. I used to frequent that site all the time.
Yep.
It's a good site.
That's where it came
A
from.
little cross promotion there.
Yeah, so if people are interested in seeing the differences between the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Wii U versions, you can check it out there. They have a pretty comprehensive look at the different things. I just highlighted 2 different images to show the difference between the console.
Yeah, this looks good.
Yeah, from the looks of these pictures, though, I'd have to say it looks like the Wii U Advantage. Isn't that what Ubisoft was talking about with the gamepad?
Yeah, Ubisoft they really tried to hype up the Wii U version, saying that it was going to have special gamepad features and it was going to look pretty good compared to modern consoles. And I think I don't want to say that was pure marketing because I think there's some truth to that. I mean, the gamepad features are neat, and looking at those pictures, it does look a little bit better. So
yeah, I see some tricks that I don't see on the Xbox version and the PS3 version. So it looks like their shadows are better. It looks like they were able to like force perspective better. The background's like blurred when Sam Fisher's really close to the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the review.
It's coming this week.
Woohoo! That's it for news.
Anything from Gamescom that wowed you guys? Because now the Gamescom's officially a done deal.
Good question. What wowed us? Well, I'll tell you what wowed me. The release date for PS4. That wowed me.
I bet you weeped. You weeped.
That's it. The fact that I had to wait till the end to get that pissed me off, but whatever.
I don't know that wowed me. I mean, I pretty much knew it was coming. I was excited for it because, I mean, I have a PS4 on pre-order, so I was happy to know when I would get that, but
yeah.
I don't know that anything, like, super impressed me. Like, most of it I'm excited about, but nothing has just blown me away.
Well, for PS4, I thought, what was it, Rime? R-I-M-E?
You mean PS4 Wind Waker? No, just kidding.
No. I told you, it looks like Journey and Eco, or Shadow of the Colossus.
I don't think it looks... I think it looks more like Wind Waker than it does
I
Journey.
agree.
Nah.
It looks more like Wind Waker.
No, you guys are smoking. Because Wind Waker has that cel-shaded look, and that doesn't look so... Like, the big, thick, broad
Rime
outlining
does look
lines.
cel-shaded.
Not with the big, thick outlining lines.
It's not that super thick, though.
No, it's like Journey. It has that aesthetic to it, and the way that the camera pans back.
You're thinking like Borderlands cel shading.
No.
The new Wind Waker HD doesn't really have that.
That's comic
It doesn't
book
have that.
Anyways,
I
that
still
was
say it
one
looks like
game
a
that looked
Wicker.
pretty dope, and they didn't really show too much. They just showed a kid wearing similar clothing as an eco kid, jumping around and kind of platforming on some stuff. It was kind of a
He was
sandy
doing
area.
some Assassin's Creed parkour.
Yeah, he was.
One thing we
So
didn't.
that's okay.
One thing we didn't talk about was the awards, the official awards from Gamescom, and
Yep.
Yeah, those
I'll
are
be the
out.
negative Nelly here, and I'll go ahead and say it. I think it was a crock, and the reason why.
What do you think was a crock
Here's
about
the
it?
deal. How does I'll start off with this. How did they I think they gave Destiny so much acclaim. I didn't hear anything about Destiny. That's one thing I think was just like, okay, no one talked about Destiny.
I think that
Destiny
I
won
think that
the game, whatever, game of show or something like that.
Everyone talked about Titanfall. Like, people were willing to chop off their pinky finger to play this game.
but Titanfall, it's not like Titanfall didn't win
But-
anything. It
But
did.
no one talked about Destiny. The games that people talked about were Titanfall, Battlefield, and Killzone. Those are the games that I heard all this buzz about. I didn't hear anything about Destiny. I heard more about Connect Sports Rivals than I did Destiny. And yet,
Destiny's not an exclusive.
but
that's the only thing I can
no,
think
that
of.
that nudges into the next gripe, the next burn, or whatever you want to call it. How did
What?
how did Destiny win best PS4 game? It's a freaking cross-platform game. It comes out. it's coming out on every system with a pulse.
I can't help but agree with that.
That's so stupid. Give it to Killzone by default, but don't.
Well, okay, so I'm guessing the reason for that is
'Cause it's
because
stupid.
there's that whole talk though. There's a whole talk where the main, you got Microsoft, you got Sony, you got Nintendo. They pay publishers of multi-platform games to showcase their game on that console. So in this case, in Destiny, if this is true, this is hypothetical, then that means that Sony paid Bungie to showcase Destiny on PS4, and no one else gets any, Destiny limelight on their console. So therefore, that's why it won the award for PS4.
I don't know, but
Because based on that, then that would be ridiculous. Why would it win for any other console?
but your game,
Because clearly Sony's paying for it.
your game show your integrity's in question when you call I just don't get. That's like saying best sports game for Xbox, Madden.
Well, that would be so. In turn, what that means is that Bungie only showed the game running on PS4. They didn't show it running on PC for Steam. They didn't show it running on Xbox One. They only showed it on PS4. Therefore, only the PS4 version should be awarded any sort of award if it was going to win,
Yeah,
which it did.
It just grinded my gears.
But I understand what you say. I agree. It is a multi-platform game, but I think there's some other things going
And then
on there.
the PS4 won best hardware and accessory or something like that. That's preferential. That's whatever. I don't care about that. But I just thought it was just so stupid.
You have to think about the market that this is coming out of, too, though. I mean, Gamescom is the biggest gaming convention in Europe, so of course it's tailored to the European market, and the PS3 dominated the European market. 360 was not as popular over there.
Mhm.
So it's somewhat understandable that the attendees of that show, the judges, whoever picks the awards, are maybe a little bit Sony biased because they prefer the PlayStation 3
It's just,
last
how do you
gen.
win a best accessory award peripheral? Was it peripheral, right? It wasn't accessory, but best peripheral when your system doesn't really have anything but a controller bundled with it. That's the only real peripheral that comes with it.
It was very nondescript, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just put like this. So we saw some cool stuff. We saw Killzone multiplayer. We saw Titanfall in action. I saw Dead Rising stuff that looked cool to me because I'm excited about that game. But the awards, the way they were dispersed, it just seemed really stupid and really biased, and it made me question the integrity of that show. I don't care if it's a PlayStation territory. I don't care if it's an Xbox territory. It needs to be fair because that's just stupid. How do you? We're gonna. Never mind. I'll shut up. But
No, it's okay.
Mark is displeased with the awards. Let that
Yeah,
be
it's just-
known.
That's all right. Losers are never comfortable about losing, so I mean that makes
but
sense.
it's like, come on.
All right. Hey,
I'll say
we're
this.
moving
I'll
on
say
from
this, and I'll ask you both this. We all monitored Gamescom coverage. What did you hear about Destiny?
Not
You're
much.
taking way too long because you didn't hear anything about it. That's why.
Not much. I answered. I answered quickly.
What did you hear about Titanfall? People crap their pants over this game. What did you hear about? No, seriously. What did you hear about Battlefield? People crap their pants over that game. I'll say this: IGN, shout out to those guys, said that the dev unit, the dev PS4 playing Battlefield didn't look good. They were worried about that, but it was a dev system, so it's not a final product, so it might not look good. But
nothing at Gamescom was a final product.
But my key thing is this: everyone was freaking running the halls over Titanfall. I never heard anything about. I heard more about Knack and Project Spark than I did Destiny, and I'm excited about Destiny, but that just seems so bogus to award.
Well, okay, I'm gonna say one thing too here because we're getting short on time. Destiny is a dope, like, massively multiplayer online game, right? Like, it's supposed to have a big online component, and there's just gonna be a lot of people in it. But we're also getting that on offer from Battlefield 4 and also from Call of Duty. They're all gonna be big first-person shooters with lots of online gameplay. So Destiny really doesn't bring anything new to the table. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, the Gamescom judges it does. It wins awards.
Beside that point, but I'm just saying, I'm defending Titanfall now, which is very unlike me, because I'm not going to play it ever, and I don't care. I'm not going to lose a year off my life because of it. But Titanfall does look pretty impressive. All that, running and jumping and sliding and whatever cool tricks, and then you can fly, and then there's the suits, the big old mechs. Like, there's a lot on offer there. On top of it, basically looking like a run-of-the-mill Battlefield, set in the future. Like, it looks like a standard shooter, but then it has all these movement mechanics, which is funny because that's what Call of Duty was talking about a lot at that event you went to, about how they changed movement. But man, that game, Titanfall, takes it over the top as far as movement. Like, you can vault onto rooftops in a split second, and then have the advantage over something.
I guess it's not
like in that video where the dude busts out a rocket launcher and takes out another mech because he's up on the roof,
Guess it's not better than Destiny, though. That's all.
Well, like I said, Destiny really doesn't. Destiny has a lot of cool guns, and it has all the standard cookie cutter options when it comes to shooters, but it doesn't have any of that parkour stuff. It doesn't have big ol', as far as I've seen so far. I could be completely wrong, but it doesn't have any big ol' mechs.
I'm just gonna throw it out that you're really praising the parkour that you've seen, but we've already seen parkour in a game called Brink, and everyone hated Brink.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes.
So why did people hate Brink?
I don't know.
Because Brink was terrible.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Not because of one particular thing, just because it was terrible.
A lot of people didn't like the way that the parkour was. Okay. They felt like it should be more like Mirror's Edge, and it wasn't.
Okay, so
that's true.
I'm sorry I caused all this, guys. I'll leave it alone. Let's get ready to wrap this thing up and put a nice bow on it.
I want to give a quick shout out to one of our Wii U Daily commenters, John Aguilera. There was a big discussion on Wii U Daily about whether these podcasts are a bit too long or not. And I don't know if you guys frequently listen to podcasts, but some of them are up to 2 and 3 hours long. And that's crazy to me. So the fact that we're putting out an under-the-hour podcast that you can listen to with different gaming perspectives for the different consoles and maybe even a little bit of PC from me is, I think that's pretty good. But he said, these podcasts are perfect to listen to while I'm at work. I don't think there's a problem with the length of them as long as they get their point across. Plus, I like listening to Ashley. She puts those guys in their place. So, thanks,
Ashley's
John.
Got a boyfriend.
I try my best.
Ashley's got a boyfriend.
This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Well, some of my favorite podcasts are well over an hour. And the PlayStation Blogcast is over an hour oftentimes, an hour 15, hour 45. That's fine.
The reason I say that is just last Friday I was on another podcast called Game Critics, and we were talking about Nintendo and what they call the Xbox 180 because they really hate Xbox over there.
You think?
It was almost it was almost 2 hours long. So I'm sitting here thinking, you think an hour's long, really? Yeah. I don't, but it's a matter of
newsflash, folks.
Opinion.
People like to complain. Just like I just complain.
Yeah, well, Mark, you should know. You're the biggest.
I just complain. No, I just complain. People like to complain. It's fun.
Well, in the spirit of John, I'd like to suggest we wrap up what we're playing in under 5 minutes.
Okay.
You think we can do that?
I can do it. I played DuckTales Remastered.
All right.
That's it.
Ashley?
I've, of course, played Splinter Cell Blacklist, but I also, just Sunday, I played Left 4 Dead 2, haven't played it in a long time, with a Wii U Daily reader called Zorpix. He messaged me on Steam and asked if I would join his game, and I said sure, so we played Left 4 Dead 2.
Wow. And I played Dive Kick. Dive Kick! I don't think I did that right. But Dive Kick is awesome. It's a 2-button fighter where you're out if you get hit once, and it's 5 rounds, and it's amazing. It's impossible to describe. You have to play it. And as far as I know, it's on PC, Steam, and PSN for PS3 and Vita right now. It's cross-buy for PSN for Vita. I think it might even still be on sale. I'm not sure because the PlayStation Store just updated. But I highly recommend Dive Kick if you're a big fighting game fan. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's very tongue-in-cheek. So that's what I'm playing. Oh, Mark.
Yes.
Did you watch a movie?
Yep. I managed to get a movie in. There's this movie called Pain and Gain. I don't know if you guys ever heard about that. Came out this spring, starring one Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark, and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And there's one other guy, and I should know his name, but he was the dude in 8 Mile who played Papa Doc. If you don't know who that is, shame on you, because I can't remember his name. Anywho, it's about this group of muscleheads who come up with this idea to rob this rich guy. It's based off a true story. They held him hostage for 30 days, tortured him, and they did some more stuff, and people got killed. The movie has got like a dark comedy action feel to it. It's directed by Michael Bay, and so
there's gonna be a lot of explosions.
No, I think there's an Optimus Prime cameo, right?
You know what? He toned there's not that much explosion, but it's funny, man. The movie, put it like this, I couldn't. If you should see this movie if you got a dark sense of humor.
Dude, I'm not even joking. I didn't even see this, right? But I have it waiting for me at the Redbox. I gotta go pick it up. Not even joking.
Yeah, I literally bought it digitally, and I feel no regrets. So yeah,
I got a coupon from Redbox. It got me 50 cents off. I got the email that said that this was available now. I went and reserved it on Blu-ray. So yeah, I highly recommend doing that.
Yeah, it's totally worth checking out. You should like it. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. It's got some dark humor, but yeah,
I'm watching my buddy tonight.
So if you've made it this far, we want to thank you for listening. And if you have any questions or comments, you want to address us in any manner, you can email us at podcast@gamefans.com. We also have an iTunes subscription if you want to listen to us on your phone or your computer. And you can also follow us on Twitter. I'm at Overlord Roar.
I am Cosmo Crisis, at Cosmo Crisis.
At Mr. Hearn, Mr. Spelt Out.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
Yeah, well, just keep your power gloves off her, pal, huh?